Okay, it is now 13:26, October 22nd, 2018, Monday. I'm making this video a second time because the last time I tried to, it froze at 7 seconds. They're fucking with my camera again, heavily, trying to prevent me from speaking out. So, yeah, these UAVs controlled by the Air Force from Joint Base Lewis McChord. Primarily, they've been using a lot of mind control frequencies, microwave level mind control frequencies, um, on my brain today, to keep me awake, sleep deprive me. Same with the voice to skull, um, conducted by U.S. Army intelligence from Fort Meade, Maryland. I'm assuming. How it works from there, like I said, it's relayed by a satellite from Fort Meade to a satellite nearby, DoD communication satellites. They beam it to a select UAV that's armed with that's not armed with particle emitters, charged particle emitters, but instead radio antennas, emitters, um, and that's a real high FM frequency, maybe 1200 megahertz or above. Um, it's a radio frequency just under microwave level, maybe. But they beam it from the UAV straight to my head, and that's how they broadcast the primarily how it's done with the voice to skull. Now, so they've been doing that to keep me awake all day. They've been hitting me with those mind control frequencies to induce major depression, and they've been doing this for a while, for quite a while. They're able to, like I said, I take medication for depression. I'm on the highest dose of the medication which I take, which is an SSRI, and they're able to induce, they're able to block, they're able to either block the medicine, the effects by preventing the release. No, that's part of it. I know it is preventing the release of neurotransmitters by blocking the signals between neurons which cause them to release, and perhaps by targeting my blood vessels and arteries to remove some of the medication itself from my bloodstream. Um, so I'm really depressed. I'm kept really depressed throughout the day. That and anxiety, it alternates, and 90% of what I feel every day is super, like, major depression and anxiety, alternating between both. Ah, they just hit my head with fuck with kinetic energy using charged particles. Um, these formations in the sky that you can see a bunch of triangular formations with 3 UAVs. There's a perfect isosceles, a small one, a perfect equilateral triangle I see, usually above, just to the west of the house, above it. Usually just stays there high in the sky, and that may be primarily used to hit my heart and other people's hearts, using charged particle emitters, but that's only conjecture at this time. I'm not sure. It may be true, it may not be. I'm not sure at this time. There's all kinds of triangle formations in the sky. I can see at least 5 on any given night that is clear. Some of them, there's 2 to the west, high in the sky, that are back to back. They're both wide triangles. One of them's way larger than the other, but they are back to back. And what they do, as I've said before, the triangular formation is used to hit a moving target, to be able to sync their particle emitters or whatever they're using. They charge up electrons and they fire them, basically. They can use it to pull as well. That's their main weapon is are these charged particle emitters. They use them for everything. They use them to redirect microwaves. They start to pull on cell phone towers, and maybe even radio tower nearby that's at a nearby train yard. They pull these microwaves or radio waves. They pull them. They create a stream upwards to the UAV that's pulling them. A second UAV will target me directly from above and use the same weapon, but pushing. They'll fire downwards. Using electromagnetism, they will push downwards through the stream and hit target my body wherever they want using these microwaves. So it's like a peak. One's going up, the other's coming straight down on me. Okay, it's like an X. Alright? So that's how it's done. They pull from cell phone towers primarily all day. And there's a few around here. There's at least 3 within a mile. Yeah. There's about 3 within a mile plus the radio tower. Very close. Very close. And that's how they do it. There's also a V formation, a very distinct V formation in the sky that changes. Now it's to the east, and sometimes it gets right above almost to the east, high in the sky to just above the horizon to the east because there's a hill there. It's always within view. It's a distinct V formation comprised of 5 UAVs. One at the tip. Usually it's a sideways. You can view it sideways if you're looking south. It's to the southeast, kind of. Okay, at the tip, the bottom tip, the tip of the VC, it's like this. This would be the one at the end. It is a surveillance UAV. It has cameras, and that's it. Okay, they need those in order to target. And like I said before, the triangles are used to hit a moving target. They link they triangulate you. So if you're moving around, they can hit you. They link their weapon systems together, and they need those surveillance UAVs that are lower in the sky to be able to spot me, and that's how they target you. Okay, so they can hit you. They can lock onto you if they're triangulated, and they just triangulate you and they hit you, alternating from 3 different directions. They can do it. And when they reposition, when they move, it's not all at once. They don't just drift across the sky. They do it gradually and incrementally. So you'll just see this kind of them all move at once. They'll do it like that because if somebody sees 3 stars, what they think are stars, just drifting across the sky at once in a triangular shape, it's gonna be pretty obvious. So they do it like that. Or if they want to expand their area, their range, where they're able to hit, if they're going after a faster moving target, they will drift apart incrementally. So like that. That's how they'll do it. Little by little. They'll widen or contract. Expand or contract their formation. This V, though, like I said, this last one on the bottom, it is used for, it is a surveillance one. This V is kind of like their support formation, alright? Maybe it's used for signal relay, has different uses. The one next to it, the one on the bottom row of the V, just inward from the last one, is a UAV that has several smaller UAVs around it. Very small. Like they're smaller, not distance. 3 or 4 are around it at all times. And what I figure those are used for are maintenance and repair. So basically these things are like little floating batteries, alright, waiting to be deployed if they need it. Now what if a UAV, if there's a battery failure, in the power core of the gyroscopic inertial thruster, which is what they run on, if that fails, the battery, if it loses its charge, which is primarily how they malfunction, it has a failsafe mechanism in place, so it doesn't dip below a certain level in the sky. It gets pretty low, but it's there's a mechanism in place to keep it spinning and to keep it from hitting the ground. Now, I've never seen that happen in person. I've seen videos of it. Okay, it happens. But also, if around here that happens, there's like Seattle is a hot spot for these things. I think I would have to say, man, it's one of the cities with the most UAVs in the air above it. I believe that if that happens in this case, in this city, they would be able to pull it to keep it higher in the sky using other UAVs particle emitters, using electromagnetism. They would be able to push or pull it and keep it up high. But they have these three or four repair drones. They're basically just batteries, floating batteries using the same mechanism of propulsion. Very small though. So basically what will happen when they'll deploy one of those, it'll come down and attach itself to the exterior of the UAV, and it will charge the through the exterior it will remotely charge the drone, the UAV, its core, its battery, enough to get it back into the air so they can get it to a place where it can be repaired if need be. So that's what the second one's for. Now the third one, the one at the bottom, and the other two, I'm not sure, but one of them, my best guess is that one of those is used for is dedicated solely for voice to skull transmission. And my guess is this one, the one at the center, the bottom of the V, or this one, the one at the very edge, opposite. It's one of those two, if it's part of that grouping. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's no constellation that looks anything like those mathematical shapes in the sky, and there never have been. There never will be. It's pretty obvious to anybody who spots them. Okay, so how this is done, the voice to skull, is this female officer who may be about in her late 30s to maybe 40, maybe just turned 40. I believe she's a brunette. Her first name may be Christine, but I'm not sure. I don't know her last name. She's been on me since as far back at least as 2012. Okay, and she heavily advised an ex-girlfriend of mine. Everybody around me, basically, including my mom, has been spoken to by her using voice to skull. If there's stalkers around, she will advise them personally. They will voice to skull them and update them as to what I'm doing, where I am, if they can't see me, what I'm thinking, all of that. And I see the effects in real time. The people that live around me included have all heard this woman, right? And this ex, she advised, she was sent to get in with me, all right? And there she was brought in as an agent provocateur / saboteur. Basically, they were trying to use her to ruin my life, and they used heavy mind control even to get me to go out with her, and to get me to stay with her, that kind of thing. And they tried to basically screw me over. They tried to set me up using entrapment methods. They tried to get me in trouble with the law several times using her. I managed to dodge a bullet on that one. I got out of it, in 2013 also is when a lot of these stalkers learned that they were going to face federal charges, including conspiracy charges. Okay, so they started to freak out, and that's one of the reasons I got lit up so hard. Because it's been going on for a long time. Alright. So this is hundreds of people that I know. So how it works is that this Army intelligence woman out of Fort Meade, Maryland, She conducts the voice to skull. She is in touch with voice to skull. She is subject to remote neural monitoring herself and voice to skull by UAVs that are over Fort Meade, over the area. Um, so she's taking orders directly by voice to skull, and guess who's advising her? Um, a senior agent of the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. She's basically repeating what he tells her to say to me. All right, and he's part of the ADMA, Associate Director of Military Affairs for the CIA. And the relay, he's at CIA headquarters, McLean, Virginia, and either they they're using a DoD communications satellite to relay that signal to her, or they just have a line of UAVs from connecting the signal from Virginia to Maryland. Either one, man, it's pretty close, so they could do either. So this is controlled by the CIA and involves multiple agencies and basically all branches of the military. All right. They even at one point had submarines finding some of the U.S. Navy submarines, because Bangor submarine base, Bangor Giant base, is right down there by Bremerton, so they could use extremely low frequency weapons from the sub itself, because there's a view of the water from my house, and they can hit me with submarines armed with these emitters from the water, but only if I'm up here. Maybe they're still doing it, I don't know. Okay, if they are doing it, they're definitely not using a Triumph sub. It's definitely a lot smaller. Okay, they've been threatening my mom all day, threatening my dogs, my family, with rape and murder. All right, she has, and woman